Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brunch with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brunch with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Yes, we are the trending topic. We relationship prophets. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest.
What's going on? It's your boy King Des here. Another episode of Brunch with the Boys. What's going on, gentlemen? How we doing this evening?
Easy.
Yes,
what's
sir.
good, everybody?
It's Mr. Gent here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. It's another Saturday night. We hope y'all had a great weekend. We so happy, man. We vibing. We was on the porch vibing for about an hour, man.
Oh, yeah.
Just laughing, losing air out our lungs. So if y'all not having fun tonight, get right.
I got
Get
a little
something
Henny in me,
lungs.
too. I got a little Henny in me, too.
A little Henny. A little Henny.
And listen, I want to give a special shout out to Insomnia Cookies. Them shits are fire. I was
Really?
trying to get some for the boys, but right now everybody trying to watch their waistline and shit. You know, we out here trying to be fit.
It's hot boy summer. It's a
Y'all
hot
should
boy
try
summer.
it,
You know
ladies.
what I mean?
Hot
So-
boy summer.
But
Yeah.
cookies are awesome. Whenever I feel like having a treat, I always stop by there. I believe in Waterford Lakes if you're in the Orlando area. You know,
Yeah.
there it is.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy King Des here, and I have a question for you. Why boudoir? Because you deserve to celebrate you and discover just how fearless, sexy, and beautiful you really are.
Yes.
Every woman, moms, brides, and girlfriends, your sisters and your wives, your doctors and nurses and teachers, Image Boudoir will help you celebrate being empowered. Image Boudoir is the premier boudoir photography studio in Orlando, Florida.
Tell it.
Our boudoir sessions at Image Boudoir are created and customized to capture your vision. And as a female-only boudoir studio, we're extremely understanding of the vulnerability of a boudoir shoot, and we're here to support you. From finding the perfect inspiration to the perfect wardrobe looking to pose you. So the question is, are you looking to feel empowered?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to feel sexy for yourself or your significant other? Visit imageboudoir.com for a sexy photo shoot today. That's what it is. That's what it is. What we talking about tonight,
So,
fellas?
man, tonight we are going to get into fatherhood, man. And all three of us are fathers.
Yes, sir.
You know, I think we all know the importance of a father, you know, being active in their lives. So we want to talk about some of those stuff and, you know, do it the Brunch with the Boys way.
Keep
You
it
know
all
what
the
I
way
mean?
real. That's what
So,
it is, play.
Since we all have kids, like I said, I want to start by asking you all, how did you feel when you first found out you were going to have kids? And Jen, you go first because your kids are the oldest.
Yeah. By the oldest, we mean by way.
Yeah, I kind of messed up a little early, man. But yeah, so I had my first kid in college. I was 20 years old. And when I first found out that I was having a son, I legitimately threw myself down a flight of stairs. Got back up.
Were you happier you were having a son and not a daughter? Did that matter?
I wasn't in that mindset. I was like, man, I'm way too young for this
fucked up.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
that's-
too young to nut in the pussy, though, huh?
Pussy was good, too.
It really
Wet.
was.
Wet.
She had that whap.
Did she tell you?
That wop.
Not that wop. Did she tell you to come inside of me? Because that's how hoes be getting
Yeah,
you.
they do. They don't care about you.
Come
when they say
inside
that.
of me. And she knew what I was playing.
I want you.
You know what? I just love the feel of just that
So it's your
rawness.
fault.
So it might have been my fault. But
And
you know, everyone, it's a 50-50 responsibility. She knew she had a
That
take a
Twinkie
little
hole, I know.
I think it's more the man's responsibility. It's our seed. We have to be more,
What?
you know, diligent on how we choose to spread it.
Nigga, we ain't wired like that, though. You're right. You're right. But we ain't wired like that. Like a TV should do a lot of shit a TV don't do. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's what it is, because part of our nature is to procreate. That means nutting shit. So by pulling out, it's actually going against the actual act itself. That act is used to procreate. So you have to tell your mind, I'm not supposed to do what my body's telling me I'm supposed to do right now.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I'm
wonder
saying?
who.
Ow.
I wonder who, and we always get off subject, but I wonder who first created, you don't come in me, come on my face. Like, who said, because I'm sure it started off on the stomach and worked its way up, but who said the face?
It was
had to be a man.
it was a prostitute.
Yeah, I was going to
I'm
say,
sure.
Do you think it was a
probably
prostitute?
a whore. Yeah,
or
at
do you
least
think
a
it
whore.
was a man who was encouraged by a prostitute.
Men back in the day did not care if they had a bunch of illegitimate children. They just didn't want to claim them. You know what I'm saying? So there'd be a bunch of little of them running around, and those little people didn't even know who their daddy was. Like,
so if you were a woman and you had sex, you basically were saying, "Damn, I could probably get pregnant back then."
Well, I think you should be saying that now.
Yeah.
I think let me tell you something. I haven't had that conversation with my kids yet, but when I do, it's anybody you procreate with, you better be careful, because they could be the mother or father of your child.
Yeah.
And it's true. And I lucked out on mine in regards to, she turned out to be a fantastic mother. So, I got no hate against that in any way, shape, or form. I just think that because I wasn't ready, I didn't take the news very well. And then I remember calling my mom, and it took me about 7 days to tell my mom, because I would just call her and I say, "Hey mom, what's going on?" You know how life is sometimes when you mess up.
He doesn't call often.
Yeah, and I don't call. So I hung up the phone, and then I called on Tuesday and be like, "Mom, you know what? When you had children, like, how did you feel originally? You know what? Don't even worry about it. I'll call you back." So it took me. I broke it down, and by like day 5, she was like, "It's either you're dropping out of school or you got someone pregnant. Which one is it?" And I was like, "Ma, I got her pregnant, right?" Yeah. So
seems like it's sad news to you. Yeah, the parents will, because what can they do? But you seem saddened by yours. Des, was your experience similar, or was it a more joyous?
No, it was cool. I mean, I was in a committed relationship. I was engaged to someone, and I don't know that we necessarily planned for it. We just
weren't trying to prevent it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we knew we were going to get married. We knew we were going to do all that. And so it was a great one. I found out, my thing was the question you had asked Jen initially, when he had stated, he wasn't in that frame of mind at that point, but I was like, man, I hope it's a boy.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked you that, because typically it means so much to a man to have a son.
Well, I got both for what it's worth, y'all. I got both, but my first,
and we both do, and we all do actually. Yeah, so that's the beauty in this. So we can really discuss this from that aspect. But that's interesting, because timing is everything, right? Because had Gent been, what were you, 23, 24?
No, I was 27.
Even better. You would have probably been happy as shit.
Absolutely. Like my second child, I planned for it. I was ecstatic. I mean, I went and did all the maternity shopping for my lady. So I was so excited in regards to just, being a part of it from the beginning without any residual feelings about whether I was ready or not. Because at that time, I knew that I was a decent father. So I was good.
Not a decent father.
Yeah, well, these people that
a strict progress report for yourself.
Well, I was straight out here in this dad shit. I was straight, saying, I don't know, but
everyone always thinks like they're the best father, and I just want to keep it real with myself, because I know there's things that I could have done different. Hindsight 2020. So
for sure,
I think that it's more about being the best father that you can be.
Yeah.
So I think when people think they're the best father, they are, because they did the best that they could do, and everyone's version of that is entirely different. You know what I mean? So no one's story the same.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
When I found out I was having a child, it was quite a surprise. I can't say I was happy, because it wasn't something that I was planning for.
Okay.
And it was something that I thought was being prevented, So
wow. Yeah,
when
you know.
Yeah, so when you realize that something that should have been happening wasn't, and now the result of that is a responsibility that you incur, for the rest of your life, I think that changes. I wish that, and that's not to say, and I'm finding this fancy way to say, maybe some people say like I feel trapped. Like I was trapped, but I don't want to say I was trapped. I feel like a decision was made without me that I should have been a part of that conversation.
Had you been a part of that, would you have gone along with that?
I can't say I would have. I can't say I wouldn't have. But I always wanted a family. I've always wanted kids. So none of that was off the table.
Right.
But I wanted to be a part of the conversation, and I didn't want that decision to be made for me. So again, there was joy there, but it had to first come, once I got over the fact that I wasn't a part of the decision.
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to say that the nicest way, because I'm sick of niggas always saying, chicks say it, they don't want to hear, nigga, I didn't trap you. It's really not that mindset. If you look at it a certain way, it's less about the trap, more so it's just, hey, you went in knowing this and he didn't know. There's a lot of women who tell men that they're on birth control, that tell a man, don't worry about it while he's having sex when he asks where to nut.
Right.
That's, let's keep it real, ladies. That's a setup. You know what I mean? And you can say and try to remain as innocent as you are, as you want to be or you claim to be. But the fact is, you knew something that he didn't. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
We got you.
All right.
Loud and clear.
So what does fatherhood mean to you?
Man, that's a great question. I think fatherhood means to me being a guiding force and the balance for their mother in their life, in every aspect of their life. You know, their spirituality, their intellect, their social skills, their physical, all of those things, right? Being a guide and a model for them to be able to be successful, the things that are required to be an adult, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That sounds pretty textbook.
Yeah, for me, it was different because I think mine has morphed throughout time. And as my kids aged, I think my philosophy around fatherhood also changed.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
However, like out the gate, my original thought process was to be a provider, and a father, because that's what I saw from my father. It's not like I had a father who was out here just living the definition of what Des just said. Like, he was someone who was a provider and every once in a while drop some gems on you and then send you back into the house. You know what I'm saying? That was about it. Like, so for me, being a provider was my original definition. And I think that it changed into really meeting your kids at their level and trying to be that guiding force, like Des said, using your own personal experience and so that they don't make the same mistakes that you have, just learning about themselves and trying to find themselves.
You know, I find interesting you said not make the same mistakes you have. And I think our experiences are important for our kids, right? But I find so often, and you were like this as a child, a lot of kids want to make the mistakes themselves. Yeah. And they feel like that's their mistake to make. And when you tell them, hey, this is what could happen. This was likely to happen because I've been there and I did that. And you're telling the damn truth. But they don't hear that and they don't want to because they want to go through it themselves. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. Is that good parenting to try to prevent them from something bad, or to an extent where, hey, there's levels to this? Certain things we have to prevent, and other things, hey, maybe we let them fall on their ass.
Yeah, I think you said that. I think you said it perfectly. I think there's some things that you have a responsibility as their parent to prevent them, right? Like, there's a learned danger there that outweighs the experience from making a mistake, right? To your point. So I think that some of those things you have to be able to be there for them. I think there's some things you got to let them stub their toe, right? Yeah. And I think part of parenthood, fatherhood in particular, is knowing when to allow them to stub their toe and when to step in. And everybody's kind of threshold for that is different. You know what I mean? So
I totally hate when I kick something with my big toe. Yes. That's a painful feeling. You always try to keep the scream in, but it hurts.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I honestly think that when it comes to that aspect of things, I feel like there's some new age parents that really feel like their whole purpose in life is to give them their own individuality, right? And in that, all they have to do is foster that. And they're going to play a more hands-off approach. I've never been that father. Like, I feel like I'm more old school in that capacity where, hey, do what I tell you to do because I know what's best for you. And that's not always the best.
I think you do what you see.
A hybrid, right?
I think when it comes to parenting, your parenting style stems from the way you were raised, mixed with the way you wish you were raised. So in my opinion, I think you try to find a blend for that, because there are things that, you know, my parents weren't cool with that I'm cool with, you know, and vice versa. You know, you mentioned our father, who again wasn't overly emotional, and he would talk to you. And if, to be honest, if you went to him, he would talk to you, but he's not going to come to you and talk to you. And as a parent's job, and we all know, because we are parents, especially a father, it's important for us to be the initiator. You know, it's our responsibility to keep that relationship there. It's not theirs because we made those bastards.
Exactly.
You know
right.
what I mean? So
exactly right.
What did you believe would be a challenge or your biggest challenge going into fatherhood? before you even had it, what did you believe would be your biggest challenge? What are you nervous about?
Providing the type of lifestyle that I'd always imagined I'd want to provide for my kid.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
Exactly same here. Right?
Yeah.
I won't deviate from that at all.
I don't know if I thought about that myself, because my mindset there was, I'm going to provide for myself. I'm going to provide for anything that comes from me. So I can't say I was worried about that. I was more worried about my lifestyle change, the way things were going to be different, because you really truly stop living for yourself. When you have kids, if you're a good and active parent, so you obviously have many parents who remain selfish, and, there are consequences for those type of actions. So I really think that's what it was for me, my lifestyle change. I was nervous.
For me, because I had my son in college, I think, if I'm being honest with myself, I rejected the whole thought process of the responsibility, right? Like, I knew I had the responsibility, but I wasn't ready yet. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I was there. I know.
Yeah. So I was like,
fuck this shit.
I was like, listen, babe, you got the kid, man. I'm finna hit the club Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
She deserved that,
what
though.
I'm saying?
And I sounded sensitive, but she deserved that. I think when you're a woman, we talked about who's responsible. You let this nigga inside of you. No offense, nigga. You are weak to the pussy, nigga. I mean, come on. You fall in love. You a young nigga. You were sprung quickly. You don't as quickly as you knew each other. You know what I mean? And so, in my thing, it's funny. You would make those decisions for him because you're not on birth control, and a nigga, if he busts in you, you don't know yourself to be infertile. So why would you go that route? So to me, leaving your son with her while you hit the club, yeah, bitch, this is what you wanted, right?
Wow, man. But
there's not a fair side there.
No,
Okay.
there isn't.
I can't even agree with that myself.
I think you're taking responsibility from the man.
I see.
But yeah, like, I wasn't. Jen and I went to college together, and I didn't have a girlfriend on purpose in college, and I did not have a kid. And he was everywhere I was. So, like, everywhere I was.
All the
like,
time.
Straight up. And I knew he had a kid, but, like, no, straight up. Like,
You heard of him, you just never seen him.
No, I babysat that nigga before, too, with frat brothers and stuff, too. But I just remember being like, where's that little nigga at, man? I was seeing randomly and shit, so.
Yeah. All right, so Gent, now that you are a father, what have you found to be most challenging?
I think the most challenging thing is trying to understand them fundamentally in regards to what motivates them, what means something to them, what challenges that they're going through day in, day out, and trying to be there in a objective, unbiased way. Like, to be honest with you, my son went through a bunch of phases, right? So one of his phases was he was stealing a lot. This man went through a phase where he was taking everything out of every store. I mean, he was going into Pier 1 and he was taking stuff out of Pier 1. I'm like, man, what are you even stealing as a toddler in fucking Pier 1, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, man, like, he went through phases, so I had to really understand, like, why are you doing this? I give you everything.
Yeah.
Like, so what is the driving force behind it? And I would get more frustrated than really trying to acknowledge him, understand what's driving the behavior, and then really talk to him about that so I can get to the other side of it. So again, the way that you were parented, sometimes you parent. And like, a lot of the ways that I was parented by my mom was just like, it was anger first, and then, whatever happened later, right? So I can tell you I've made some missteps.
I think that perspective is everything. I don't know if I would say anger. I would say, for me, it came off more, you're going to do what I say no matter what first.
Yeah.
So I never got anger really until I did opposite of what she told me that I should do and will do. So from her perspective, that's fair, right? I disobeyed in order. She put the cards on the table. She's my authority and guardian. She's taking care of me everywhere I am. I wouldn't be there if it weren't for her. So if we keep things in perspective as a child, and that's why, again, I love my mom. I love the way I was raised, because while it may not have been perfect in every way or ideal in the ways I would have liked it to be, it really was effective because you are supposed to obey your authority. You are supposed to obey your parents. And if you learn this, in my opinion, as a child, it's going to be easier to accept authority in society, in your workplace, and understand how to carry yourself in those situations and know you don't get to do whatever you want, because the free lifestyles and that you mentioned earlier, as far as how a lot of these new age parents are raising their kids, it's do and say what you want. You're so empowered, so they have no sense of authority. You know what I mean?
But
yet the sense of entitlement.
And just to quickly counteract that, though, at the end of the day, if it's do what you say and there's no rationale behind it, you don't want to hear anything that I have to say or any input that I may have, like, to me, are you even trying to understand me?
What age does input begin for you? You answer that, Gent, you answer that, Dad. What age does your child get that their input holds more weight than, because I can't imagine an 8-year-old telling me their rationale for me telling them to do whatever.
So I like the way that question's phrased. So is the question, I'm trying to rephrase it, is the question that before making that decision, as opposed to simply making a unilateral decision as the adult, would I look for my child's counsel or feedback on a decision that includes them?
Yeah.
Realistically, and it depends on what it is, but probably around like 14, 15, 16, around there,
Yeah.
I would say, hey, this is something that has to happen. So tell me what you feel about this.
Because
You know what I
they're
mean?
becoming an adult.
Correct.
And you need to treat them more, with an adult perspective.
Right.
Because
With some
you're
respect.
about to be their friend with some respect.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you're going to be their parent, but you're going to become a friend once they're an adult. You want them to come to you as a guiding source, so you can't dictate as much. But when we're younger than that, no, nigga, this is what we're doing. And you can't take care of yourself in this way, that way, countless ways, and yet you have an opinion? No.
And it's not like I don't. I agree with Des. I think that's the time when you're probably looking for counsel and making a decision. I'm saying, but what is wrong with a parent to try to seek understanding from their child? And I think it's not codependent on making the decision. I'm just saying seeking understanding allows.
Okay.
As a parent, I think the child comes to this fact, like, you know what, this person hears me. They care what I have to say, and I have to accept whatever they say I have to do because they're my mom or they're my father. But in the end of the day, like, I got to
You want
voice
to be
my
heard.
concern.
You want your child to be heard. And I always tell my kids to speak up. Respect is big. It's not what you say, but how you say it.
For sure.
So, I always go with that mindset. So I get what you're saying from that point.
Yeah.
Real quick, too, I know we got to move on, but, something I think is different than how I was raised is, like, I shouldn't say it's different, right? It's funny how you look back in your childhood, because I think without I wouldn't be who I am today. I think you said that, Jezzy, but I allow my kids to ask questions. And asking questions is different than questioning, right? Questioning decision is second guessing a decision in my estimation, which to me is borderline disrespectful, if not completely disrespectful, depending on what it is. Asking questions about how things work or how I think when I make decisions for the household, to me, is okay. And I want to know, and I think it's okay if I'm legit and I have some stability in the things I believe. It shouldn't be difficult for me to explain why this is the correct choice.
That's where the learning takes place for them.
So
But
would
yeah, I didn't get that as a child, though.
So would the question
neither
be?
did I.
Would the question be more, Dad, what made you go with that decision versus, you know what I mean? What versus?
Or he could say as simple as, Dad, just so I'm clear, what are you upset about, right? Or what did I do wrong that's leading to this action?
That's an emotionally mature child.
I mean,
I love that. I love that child. That child's an adult.
Of course, they're not gonna phrase it like that, but they're gonna. But they might just be like, "Dad, what I do wrong?" Right? And then you can legitimately take 2 minutes to say, "Listen, you did X, and X equated to this, and for that reason, you have to understand what impact that had, and now I got to make sure you understand with this punishment, right?" And that is a learning experience. That's when they have an aha moment, like, okay, I get it. I mean, kids ain't dumb these days, man. Like, they can put
never dumb. Yeah, we weren't dumb.
Exactly. So I'm saying they can put 1 and 2 together and then understand what, hey, I get it, right? So that's all I'm trying to say.
I don't know. I always want my kids empowered, and I always tell them never be afraid to ask for what you want.
Yeah.
I said I want you to know the answer's not going to always be yes, but I will respect you, and there will be times where you're gonna get it because guess what, nigga, you asked, and I like that shit. I like boldness, and I think you need to be assertive in certain times. So I fine with my kid asking or stating something as long as it's hella gently and respectfully said, and then I can be open to it.
You know, I found myself doing something that I didn't get as a child, and I think you talked about it. I think you made a great point where you parent somewhere between where you were parented and how you wanted to be parented. Yeah. And so I think of things. I think I do things with my kids that I wanted to see happen. So like, there's times where, you know, I'm just like my parents. Like, do what the hell I told you to do because I told you to do it. I ain't got time for no fucking explanation. Get it done.
And it's necessary.
Right. And then I sit back and I'm like, man, like, that needed to happen then, but I also want my kids to know what my train of thought is when I make these decisions. Yeah. And so I might be like, hey, son, come here. Hey, you know, to my daughter, come here let me talk to you for a second.
And you break it down.
Right. You know, let me talk to you about this. So explain to me what you think happened. Yeah. Right. Let me tell you my perspective. Let me tell you why I did what I did. And so they understand. I didn't get that shit at all. And there was times I was fucking confused. I was like, I don't even know why this motherfucker's mad.
All the time.
No, at all. You never... I don't even know if they thought we deserved it. But you know,
I was that kid that was expressive, so I would be the one be like, you know, I always used to stand up. We'd get a beating, man, and they just trying to get through the punishment, right? And I'm over here like, but like, Mom, for real though, like, let me tell you my side, right?
Yeah, that's not smart.
And that never works. And my sister's already crying, so my mom won with her, and my face is as straight as an arrow because I know the game. Let's just get through it, man. Stay quiet and let it happen.
Take these lashes, yo.
Yeah, he did all that for nothing. It never accomplished anything. You know what I mean? No. So, but I think that's the best way to parent, honestly, to come back and break it down. I think that's how we build emotionally strong kids. And with all of the mental illness coming around, it's not good to just tell people such and such with no explanation. Fuck with them and make them feel some type of way, but never reassure them and restore them. And that's where we're messing up in society. So I think you're doing the right thing, Des, and Gent, and the fact that we want the open line of communication. I mean, I think that's the best you could do as a father.
You know, let me ask you a question though, because not all of our kids are super expressive. So like, my son is not expressive like that. My daughter will tell you how she feels all the time. Like, she definitely has that family gene, right? But my son, he's not very expressive. So, Des, I ask you a question. How do you get to communicate with someone who is not as expressive?
You know, I don't. Fortunately, I don't have that experience. No, I'm just being real. So I haven't developed a skill to be able to deal with that because I'm a direct person. And maybe I could have had kids like that, but I just think something I did with my kids, and they're still growing up because they're relatively young. They're not teenagers yet. And, you know, like when something happened and they were upset, I'm like, yo, I would talk to them. You have to tell me how you feel. I can't do anything if you don't tell me how you feel. Exactly. I can't help you, or I can't help you understand. I can't help you feel better if I don't understand what's wrong. You have to talk to me, right? And sometimes I'm going to give you, and once again, Jezzy, sometimes I'm going to tell you some things you probably don't want to hear, but I'm never going to be mad at you because you're honest with me.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think I've had to reassure that. And, you know, my daughter is much more expressive than my son, but what I do is I have dedicated time, not just dedicated. I mean, we hang out, but there's times I have with my son, whether we're playing basketball, we're working out, where like I get to talk to him, man, how's school?
That's like, important too, that one-on-one.
And that's the form where he'll open up to me because it's just me and him. That's his comfortable spot. You know what I mean? His sister's not going to barge in. It's not with his mom at the table. It's just me and him. You know what I mean? No, I definitely agree. Mm-hmm. My son is not as expressive either. You know, he's more like his mom. Mm-hmm. And I think because I've been so active in his life, I've always been able to open that up in him more than, you know, and I appreciate that because I know he's capable of it. And he's not all the way there, but I think there's moments where he'll stop himself from saying something. Mm-hmm. And then if you push, he'll stay. But if you ask him and he says, no, nothing, and you wait, later on, he'll bring it up to you. And he said, you know, earlier I was thinking this. And I find what you said, alone time, to be very beneficial. Taking a ride
doing running some errands. And I always say, find something that your kids like to do and do what they want to do, and don't make it about you, as a parent, even though we make everything about them in one way or another, it is, but make them still feel that type of special. And that alone time, your kids will open up. I think it's important, and it's up to the parent to foster that type of relationship. Indeed. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the kid has to meet you halfway. So I don't want to shout out, want any parents to feel bad if they're not getting that. If the kid doesn't want to meet you halfway, you can ask what you could do to help that, but you ultimately can't make them do that.
No, you can't.
So, all right. So we got deep, and we always go off, but I wanted to ask again, we have daughters. How did you begin to view things differently in life once you had a daughter?
For me, my situation was a lot more complicated. So in my situation, there was potential for me to lose both my woman and my daughter all at the same time due to complications, right? And thank God we caught it in time, and we were able to, of course, save both. But when my daughter was born, immediately out the gate, the doctor said that we believe she has a genetic defect. And for that reason, I just want you to start to prepare yourself for what life looks like. So immediately, I'm upset, I'm rejecting, I'm trying to blame everybody under the sun, just standard denial protocol, right? Mm-hmm. But, we later found out that she is, has some form of intellectual disability, and she's on the spectrum. And so how I look at my little girl is just like, how do I help her get to her dreams? Mm. And so for me, I knew that this was going to be a lifelong thing. This wasn't going to be, an 18 and done type of situation, which, of course you want that, because you want to, all parents want to regain their life back again at some point, right? Mine back. You know what I'm saying? But it took me some time, but I learned to accept it. And it's to a point where it doesn't bother me. If I have to play a more involved role with her for the rest of her life, it's my fucking pleasure, right? Mm. But for me, it's going to be different for you, where you're probably going to feel like, man, I got to worry about boys and this. Like, I wasn't thinking about any of those things, right? Yeah. I was thinking about, okay, how do I help her get to some form of what she believes is going to be some form of normalcy?
Yeah, her best version of herself.
Whatever that looks like.
Right.
And so I had to approach life differently. So mine was a little bit more complex. I wish I had the whole, bad boys situation where I got to come with a shotgun and Jesus, you got to play the gay uncle that just came out of prison. You know what I'm saying?
I don't got to be gay to come out of prison.
Maybe you raped a few people.
No, listen.
Or you can just be the uncle that cares about his niece or nephew.
Or just a crazy uncle with a shotgun.
It'd have been nice if you were like, I'll take your booty. Anyway, it's all good, but
that's a weird request, man. Thank God I don't have to worry about that then.
Yeah,
shit.
Chasing them away like that, because it's a boy's situation. It's just different, bro.
What about, you're bad indeed, nigga. I don't know what the hell just happened.
Jesus Cristo.
What about you, Des?
What was the question again?
So how did you begin to look at things differently in life once you had a daughter, if at all?
It was completely different for me, right? Because my firstborn was a boy. And so my focus is giving him everything I could to give him everything that he needs, obviously, and almost as much as he wants, right? And it was about making him smart and strong and tough and all that stuff, right? To be able to face the world. And with my daughter, it was more about initially, right? My perspective changed, right? Initially, it was about protecting her, and babying her and coddling her, and she ran my ass until she was about 4 or 5, right? And nothing happened. Let me tell you something. I killed by mine.
Yeah, okay? I know.
So I'm at the daycare. My daughter come with a bruise. I come home. I say to mom, "Hey, what's this bruise?" "Oh, they said the daycare she had hit her knee." I said, "Who said?" Who said? I'll take it tomorrow. I'll take it tomorrow. No, don't take it. I'll take it tomorrow. So it was different. But what I realized, honestly, right about 5, my daughter was a problem. She was a terror. She was she was a problem. It was, I have to set boundaries for my daughter. And in our relationship, look, they respect their mom and they know that she's been their entire life and she's a great mom to them. But it's something about when I speak, right? And when I say some shit's about to happen. And so I needed to set boundaries. Her thing was, it's almost like a puppy, right? They say, man, the alpha letting this shit slide.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about nobody else in this house. You know what I mean? So she was cool with me, but everybody else could get this smoke.
Yeah,
okay?
gotcha.
And so right around 5, I think she had a rude awakening when I started really digging into her ass and popping her and keeping her in check. And the first few times, like, she was going to explode. Like, she didn't know what the fuck was going on. And
that's your fault.
No, it definitely was, but it had to happen. It couldn't happen at 12 or 13. She loose.
It may not have worked.
Loose already. So now, now my daughter is 10, and she's a wonderful, wonderful young lady and mature and respectful. And I'm so very proud of her. But that could have went the other way. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of fathers tend to,
spare the rod
when it comes to the daughters, and I don't think you should. And I don't know, if people believe in beating your child and none of that. I don't want to get into that shit. I know what I do, but I also know that I'm not sexist. And if y'all talk about Me Too, anybody can get it. These kids gonna act right. You know what I mean? So I believe as a father, we have to lay, that disciplinarian role. And I grew up in a home where my mother was a disciplinarian and my father was laid back. But I knew going into my situation immediately that I was going to have to be that, or they weren't going to have it. So as much as I love my daughter, and Lord knows her look and the way she talks, because she's smooth like me, she can get me. But she also knows I'll check her ass. And she knows when I flip that switch, she gets scared, And I love my daughter because she does so much to make sure I'm happy with her, that she never ever puts me in a position where I really have to get mad. And the few times that I have, it was me losing it for something that I probably didn't have to handle so roughly.
But it was so infrequent, you feel like you need to turn on?
That, as well as, nigga, I can lose my shit too. Like, I'm
you're human.
Oh yeah, I'm human and I'm hot-headed. So, I really can say I have a great daughter. I have no complaints. She's almost 14. And she looks grown. Right? Yeah, she's going to high school next year.
Grown niggas too, about 17, 18.
Well, I'm ready for the smoke. And while I haven't,
you don't even know about him.
Listen, while I haven't been to jail, nigga, listen, we'll see. And I used to be, when I found out I had a daughter, or having a daughter, I used to think about that too, especially now that mine is older.
And you was in high school.
And she's a good-looking girl, and she's shapely. Young lady. So all that shit. No, seriously. Yeah. So all that's a reality for me. I don't have an ugly daughter where her thing is going to be no one likes me, daddy, and she's insecure. I have a daughter that's full of fucking confidence.
Right. And niggas gonna blow her up.
Oh my God. She came home yesterday from the hairdresser, and I said, "What's up, baby?" She said, "My hair and my energy." And then she put her hands up, and then I was like, "What the fuck?" I said, "Who are you?" No, it made me so proud because that's my energy. So, I'm definitely proud of my daughter, man. But they're people too, all the same experiences. And let's go into that. Talking to your kids about sex. Is the conversation different for your daughter than it is for your son? Gent.
Shoot, first off, I'm not even having this conversation with my daughter yet. It ain't gonna be time until I tell her it's time. I think she's waiting for me to flip the switch and say, "Okay, daddy."
Yeah.
Oh man.
The only person she dating is me. Okay. And trust me, I date her a lot. I'm scared of my daughter too, because she's someone that if you tell her something, like, you cannot break that promise, and it's just a part of kind of who she is, and like she'll harp on it. So like, if I say I'm coming and I don't show up, dog, and she calls me because she don't play no games, dog, I'm scared to pick up the phone. Yeah. As soon as I pick them up, I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna make it up to you. I swear to God. But for me, I don't think I'm sitting here having to worry about that at all.
But what about your son though? Is that a talk that you have to have?
Yeah. Well, see, his mom is egregious, man. So like, she's in the medical field, and so what she did, which is crazy as hell, but it works. She used to put pictures of STDs and print them out
That's
and
the
then
best way to do it.
And she would put them on the fridge. And I'm
Oh,
like,
not on the
I was
fridge,
like,
dog.
nigga,
Especially
people
for your
gotta eat
daughter.
out of there, dog.
So I can't get a roast beef sandwich now?
No, you can't.
Put it in her room or his room.
No,
Like,
she would put it on the fridge and
man.
then when he walked by,
So he gonna lose weight too.
Exactly. Well, he's skinny as hell now. He'd walk by and then she'd just pop out of nowhere. You're like, you see, that's that super gonorrhea right there, boy. So let me just tell you,
there's a super version.
Yeah, there's a super version of it.
To make you not want to fuck at all.
Yeah. So I think she took that scare tactic, that shock value approach, but she was always open with him about talking about sex. But the thing is, like, as a father, I wanted to have those conversations, but she took that role, which was unfair. But in the same breath, he went to her when his balls dropped and descended as a kid. He didn't run to me. He ran to her and says, "Listen, something wrong with my ball sack. I don't know what's going on."
Some of that though is you working so much.
Yeah, I was overworking, and his mom was always with him. It had a lot more opportunity
and influence
to be there. And while I was kind of doing what I thought needed to be done, which was providing by any means necessary. But so I missed those opportunities, which I wish I could get back. And the good thing is that it's never too late to parent. I've had those conversations now, right? Hey, this is just a quick shout out to those fathers. You feel like, you missed your opportunity. It ain't never too late, man.
Yeah.
Keep trying. So
what about Dez though?
Yeah, what about you? Are you gonna talk to your daughter differently about sex than you would your son?
No, but I think the conversation for her would come from a different person. So
yeah, you don't think you have to be a part of that conversation on some perspective?
Yeah, but not at the same time the other person.
Yeah.
So my son, I'm about to have that conversation. He's 12. Somebody has a conversation literally in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
with him about this now. I know he already had sex ed in school, so I know this nigga know about fallopian tubes and shit, right?
Yeah.
But
all the science
I want to talk to him about, what I told his mom is, this is not going to be a conversation about wet dreams and nut sacks necessarily, like entirely, right? I want to talk to him about turning into a young man. Yeah. What that means, like socially and culturally, like you liking girls, dances, and then sex and kissing and being in situations where a chick might like you, right? And you like a chick, but how do you do that? So we're gonna have a conversation. It's gonna be a goddamn series, right? Or, we're gonna take a Saturday or Sunday. I might take him somewhere and we're gonna spend a lot of time somewhere. I might take him fishing, I might take him somewhere. We're gonna spend some time talking and doing something, right? And that's gonna be important. I think for my daughter, her mom is we're married, right? So her mom's gonna have this conversation with her. I think my follow-up though, I think I'll be the secondary conversation. And it'll probably be more about, hey, Adrian, let's go grab some lunch. And and we get out there.
Because your perspective is important, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Because your daughter needs to know how men view it.
Absolutely.
Because the mom is going to give her
perspective.
And to be fair, I don't think that's the only perspective she needs. And I think our perspective may be far more beneficial than the woman's.
Well, and that's why you need two people to raise these kids, right? That's
daddy
why
issues. That's what those come into
play. That's why you need that. That's not. And I'm not picking sides, and I'm not really against unconventional relationships and families. But what I'm saying is, there's a reason for that happening naturally. Right?
Well, either way, just be there.
Yeah, you don't need to be together. You don't need to be together in a relationship in order to parent.
Be present.
Well together. Be present. You do what you got to do. So I definitely agree.
No excuses.
I don't think I'm gonna talk any differently to my daughter and than I would my son as far as the act of sex and what goes behind it. But I do have more info from my son on how he should approach it, how he should view it, you know what I mean? And how he should handle himself, and to be quite frank, what works and what doesn't, I want him to be prepared. Like you said, for when a girl likes him, you said when, because it's going to happen. Girls already sending notes home. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's had notes being sent home for years. He kissed a girl when he was 6.
Okay.
And he went for that. You know what I'm saying? When the mom called us like, hey, your son, can you ask him not to kiss our daughter? I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry he did. And I hung up the phone. I was like, nigga, get that shit. And I dapped him up. You know what I'm saying? So, and don't ask me if it would have been my daughter, would I have been that happy? No, I would have been like, damn, girl, that's how we move it. You know what I'm saying? So
I had that same thing.
Yeah, the double standard.
I went into the daycare and my daughter had some boy in her lap. I was like, first off, it's the other way around, baby girl. And secondly, you ain't gonna have no other boys up in your goddamn lap.
That's hilarious.
He's my friend. No, nigga.
Yeah, but my daughter's talked to me about liking boys and dating him, and is open. We have a good relationship. So because I'm open and I never overreact, that's the key to really getting the info. You can never overreact. And once you do on anything, you lose it all.
That's the same thing with your lady. You gotta listen. Don't be judgmental. Yeah. Let her be a freak.
Well, if we're talking about her in the bedroom, no matter what she says.
That's your woman. That's your woman.
No matter what she said. Yeah. Boy, that was a strong transition there and back.
It's the truth, though.
But no, it is. And she'll tell me if she likes a boy and what she thinks, yada yada. But I haven't given her the full convo, and I fully intend to while this year goes on, because you said, I like a series. I don't want to overwhelm her in one day. So you kind of want to, and I'm gonna write my shit out to make sure I cover it out.
I'm talking points.
I'm thorough, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you see this paper over here, so I'm gonna make sure I cover everything, because I'm going into high school. I want her prepared for her reality, and her reality is every nigga she meet,
gonna try
9 out of 10, I'm gonna try to fuck her. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's tough life to live.
Well, it's tough to hear you say it.
That's their whole life, though. Once these women mature, that's their whole
but
life.
I feel like at 18 and they're not living in front of me, I can live with what I don't know. Ignorance is bliss, for real.
Right,
you know?
Especially in high school, that's when the hormones just kick in. It's raging.
She gonna be wanting niggas too.
And you could get lucky, though. As much as we say that, there are many girls who don't go and get that vibe, and they wait until later on, like 18, 19. And I know y'all making faces, but it's more regular than you'd actually think. There's over here making this fucking face. Because, am I hoping on a dream and miracle? Sure, nigga. I mean, who shouldn't have faith?
I knew it was bothering Jezzy a long time ago when that nigga was like, I pray that she's a lesbian.
And I never said I prayed, but I was okay with it. You know?
You wouldn't be upset.
No, I'm like, okay. Yeah, baby, listen, I love you. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Be equal, though.
That's real, and that's hard to say. Let's bring it there. How would you feel if your son was gay?
You know what? I had this conversation with our mom probably like a month or so ago. We watching some show on Netflix, and it came out. She was like, "I can't believe that dad is acting this way," and da 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 da. And I said, first of all, you don't know how you would react, right? And I said, people have a right to be upset or uncomfortable with something that's not normal to them and that they're not okay with. Like, people have a right to feel. And I feel like in this society, everybody got to be okay with everything. Yeah. And no, the fuck I don't. Yeah. If I don't like this shit, I don't like it. It don't mean I'm right. It don't mean anything other than that's the way I fucking feel. And I may know that I'm wrong or need to learn that I'm wrong, and I need to adjust my behavior. But my point is that I get a right to be upset,
especially and uncomfortable initially.
Too. Exactly. So, for me, I would probably get over it, because the only alternative is what? So you're not going to talk to your son for the rest of his life because of who he chooses to have a relationship with? So I would like to say that I'm much more evolved than to think I never talked to him. But do I want that nigga at Thanksgiving? Hell no. So, it's a balance. It's a balance.
Yeah. I mirror everything you say in that way. I would never even consider for a moment to lose contact with my son. So I would be, I don't even want to say disappointed, because I was a bit of a man whore in my days. No. So you just kind of want your son to see that type of life and understand. And I always believe you make a better version of yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm a pretty good looking man, if I would say so myself. And when I look at my son, I say, well, this nigga can do some things, and he's been blessed in many ways. You know what I mean? And for me to be able to see that at an early age, I say, boy, this nigga gonna be all right in life. So I would be disappointed, but I would never lose my relationship. I love that nigga as often as I don't always like him or how he, handles himself. No, I definitely.
Can his boo come to Thanksgiving? And can he be his boo? Do he got like a nigga he go to school with? Or can he be his boyfriend? That's a real question. I think he could. You acting all goddamn enlightened right now.
No, I think he could in certain lights. If I were having a family dinner with extended family, my mom, et cetera, and cousins, I probably would more likely ask that he doesn't bring them. But if it were just me and his mom and his sister, I would be open to him bringing them there. And even that may be uncomfortable for me initially, but eventually anything becomes comfortable if we really think about it. We go through change on a regular basis, and it's usually uncomfortable.
You know what I would say too is I think that the world's changed. I think many, many years ago, right, if you had a child that was homosexual, you would have to be concerned about their ability to thrive in society, right? Because of the way things were stacked against them, almost like being black, right? You would have to worry about that, right? But the difference is that I think now you can't say anything bad about anybody from the LGBTQ plus community.
They run in the world.
They run the world.
What are you talking about?
Absolutely. And so from any kind of professional, social, cultural perspective, I don't think there is a deficit to your child from a societal perspective. I don't think they're going to lose out on opportunities because I'm sexual. So realistically, it's you getting over your own beliefs.
Yeah,
is essentially what it is.
That's a good way of saying it too, because I was just doing a presentation earlier on this week, and we were talking about this guy called Theo, the guy that partnered with Elon Musk and created PayPal and sold that shit off to eBay for $1.5 billion, and he's big homosexual. Money. And he is a husband, and so you can prosper in this world. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not even weird.
Yeah, I mean, your sexuality doesn't matter. And in years to come, the fact they won't even talk about it the way we're talking about it. Down the road, it's becoming that normalized. So statistics prove that an active father in a child's life can lead to higher IQs, better language skills, and thinking skills. Not to mention fewer behavioral problems. Do you feel it's your job as a father to be the disciplinarian in your kid's life? And speak to those statistics, please.
I think that, so two things. I think definitely an influence on a kid, boy or girl, with their father is something you can't avoid, right? It goes with that relationship. I think I've seen this in undergrad and in law school. I used to mentor a couple of young men who didn't have fathers in their lives. They were young. They were probably about 10 and 12, respectively. And I saw a change in them over the couple of years that I mentored each of them, from really kids who had trouble paying attention in school and getting things done, smart young men, to being kids who ended up going to college. One of them actually went to UF. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, that shit hard to get into now. So these kids are really changing. So I think there's definitely evidence to show that involvement of a male figure, whether that's your biological father or not, is really important. Yeah. But just with regards to being a disciplinarian in a relationship, I feel the kid needs to get consistent discipline about things that the house has set as rules, right? It's table stakes, so to speak. So I don't know, sometimes it's going to be his mom, right? Because she's the one who's there, right? And I don't believe in that shit that my mom used to do with some bullshit, right? Save that goddamn ass. First of all, you saw me first. Why don't you get this beating out the way? Why you want to wait for my daddy to get home, bro? No, straight up, man. Because you don't want to, you scared? Beat me and get it out the way. Because I do not want that nigga beat me after a long day of work. Because then, you know what I'm saying? Niggas lose control sometimes, right, Jezzy? So anyways, ladies, you have to, and I say this to my kids and my mom all the time, right? Oh, well, they won't do this. Say something, you're their dad. And I go, you're their mom.
Yeah. Hold as much as possible.
They lived inside of you at one point. Yeah. So you need to take your fucking chest, stick it out, and say what the fuck you need to say. And if you don't get what you need, guess who got your goddamn back? Yeah. This big motherfucker right here.
And you just got to use my name. I don't even got to be there. I always tell my daughter, I say, hey, make sure you tell your brother this, and if he complains, just say I said so. Mm-hmm. And he knows exactly what's that. My name is currency at this point. So I definitely agree, And one thing I want to mention is I don't think a woman can raise a man. So I think when you have a son, it's important that father be around. And I think that's what speaks to those statistics. And that's why I really believe, just the same way a man can't raise a woman on his own. There's certain things that the same sex can teach you that I don't believe the opposite sex can.
And so I'll disagree with that, because there are plenty of successful people in single parent homes.
You don't know their issues, nigga.
And I'm not saying there's no issues, but
from all intents and purposes, from what you can see.
Yeah, from when I'm talking about the outcome of the child. The child in some way is looking to mirror what is seen, right?
Like the son, especially. I think the son at your man,
It doesn't matter what kind of animal in the animal kingdom, they're looking to the parent to mirror what that behavior is, right? Whether a child is going to be successful, I think it's important that stability is in that family. Whether there's a man in the house or a woman's not in that house or a man's not in that house, as long as people are present and stability is there, kids thrive in that stability.
I don't think you're speaking to what I'm asking, and I think what you're saying I have to disagree with. I don't think a man can be raised without a man being actively present in his life. And if a man has questions and he doesn't get that from a man, it can change and alter where he goes. Not to mention, I don't think there's everything that a lot of things that a woman can even understand to help a man through. You get what I mean? And that's the reason why your son comes to you about certain things. And there's a reason why, to some level, from what my experience is, I can see how my son respects me a little bit more than he would his mom, in that he knows he can say something back to her quicker and step up bad, whereas he knows with me, I'm not going to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a man thing that he has to see. And then I agree with you. Our kids watch us and mirror. So, and that's why it's important to be there so they can mirror and see the good things that they need to be passed along. You know what I mean? Because then if you're not there, that's where the all these statistics go out the window. Lower IQs, lower thinking skills. Come on, behavioral problems. How many times have you heard that? Oh, he's been acting out ever since he and his dad divorced. You know what I mean? In situations of divorce and things of that nature, that's a natural thing, a normal thing.
Do you think that is a fact that the father's not there, or is it just a stability factor, like their life has changed and therefore because of that the behavioral issues have now commenced?
I think while they can be different, they can be one and the same, because they can be different in that case. Yes, you're right, but it could be one and the same if that the lack of stability is that the father is not there the way he was or the way he should be. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So. Mm-hmm.
By the way, I don't think you can. I think you need to define what a man is. Yeah. I don't think you can raise a 100% man with just a dude. I don't. I can tell you that if I raised my son on my own, he would not be the person he is today. His mom is an integral reason. He's the reason that the person he is today. Doesn't mean he wouldn't be successful, but that nigga probably wouldn't be emotionally available. Yeah. Right? He'd probably be closed in, because I ain't saying no soft shit to my dad, because he won't let me know there's some soft shit. Yeah. He don't want to hear it. So, yeah, I mean, like when you're saying I can raise him to a man, can a nigga make it to college and get a job and shit? Yeah.
And that's what
is he gonna be the best person he can be without his mom? No.
I totally agree. And I guess what I was just saying, the departments and the differences, So yeah, definitely both parents are entirely relevant. And I think men should be more soft with their sons, and open up emotionally. And I think if we show them that it's okay to do it, then they'll be more inclined to do it. A lot of times, like you said, maybe through the centuries of generations, it's been the woman who kind of pushed that trait and made it almost tolerable to where a man can actually find a relationship and not be a total ass. So, but if imagine a generation of men who say, hey man, it's okay to express yourself. Yeah, nigga, you can cry, wipe your tears when you're done, nigga, move on, and what's next? You know what I mean? So it should be okay to express her feelings instead of the whole be tough, be silent, be stoic, and boys don't cry,
I think you're absolutely right. And I think this generation of kids growing up will be that way, because I think we're probably the first generation of parents. Not to say that other generations didn't have these kind of spurts, right? But across the board, I mean, I got friends all around my age that have kids. We're probably the first generation that's like, if your son's crying about something, hey, what's up, bud? What's going on? Why are you crying? Yeah. Right? Whereas I was a kid, it was like, yo, you fucking kidding? Yeah. Like, my parents.
We got to cry for.
Yeah. But essentially, like, the thought is this motherfucker crying over some soft shit? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're the first generation to be like, yo, I don't think my son's soft because he's crying about something now. Yeah. He's crying because he's upset, right? And so I think this generation feels that ability to be that way, and I think we'll see that.
Sometimes I do say that's some soft shit in my head, but I never tell you.
Yeah, but sometimes if the shit's soft, I'll say it. But if it's some legit, like I didn't get a soft or legitimate scare. I was like, what you crying for?
No, yeah, you're right. There have been times I probably said it, and I couldn't tell you what it was right now, but it was necessary. It was deemed necessary. It was some soft shit. Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about the benefits of becoming a father. And we're just going to run through these a bit quickly. Personal health improves. Apparently, and I have a good example of this for myself. Before I had kids, I never wore my seatbelt. You know what I mean? So I think you start to take care of yourself more once you have kids, because like, damn, is somebody kind of depending on me if I die?
That's fact.
I don't know how this nigga's going to turn out.
That's fact.
Because mama cool, but he going to need me too. You know what I mean?
That's big facts.
So, improves health. Second, your activity level increases, because we know kids never stop moving, especially babies. No?
Yeah, I think for most dudes, I think we're all pretty active people. So like if I didn't have kids, I probably would have been hooping more than I did, right? So I don't know that my activity level would have been less.
Yeah.
But I can see, depending on when you're having your kid,
Yeah.
right? If you feel 30-something, 40-something having a kid for the first time, I can see that. But in your 20s, nah, I just would have hooped more if I had no kids.
I
so.
think for me, it's always been so important for me to show them and open up their minds to all of these possibilities, all the things that I never had an opportunity. I just want them to have like this YOLO mentality, right? So I want them to try everything once. That means get up out your chair, stop being lazy. You don't have to sit here and watch TV all damn day. Get up on a Saturday and say, oh shoot, let me take them to the museum. Let me take them to a play.
Horseback riding.
Let me take them horseback riding, which we need to do. My daughter is trying to get your daughter to get on a horse like immediately.
Wow.
I don't know why, but
Sounded weird.
I know. That's the way she said it. I just wanted to listen.
I know, but your delivery's been so weird lately. I don't know.
Creepy ass
I don't
delivery.
know what it is. Like,
Well, my bad, bro. But like doing activities like that and showing them that there's so many different things in the world that you can do.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
I think that's the best thing to do, those type of activities as a dad. So stay active in your kids' life. Have fun with your kids. The ability to nurture develops.
Yeah.
I think once you have kids, especially if you have a
daughters.
dog, oh my God, you soften. Because once
Soft as
that baby girl drops her whole palm on your cheek and she just giggles and smiles,
It's done.
nigga, you know you bond and connect forever.
I
You'll give
remember-
anything you
We'll
can.
never get those days.
Never
back.
get
Never
it back.
get 'em
dog.
back.
Never get it back. It's
All
so different.
calling them all types of names. You know
Oh
what
my
I'm
God,
saying?
and they smell so sweet, man.
Oh, that neck.
Oh
Living
my
in that
gosh,
neck.
dog. Oh my God,
They
their
need
breath,
to bottle
they
that
smell
up. They gotta
amazing.
bottle that up, man.
That smell
Oh my
amazing.
God, no, they smell so amazing. That why you almost want a baby until it comes and you don't want to work.
Yeah.
But boy, if you could just hold one for
Hold
3
it.
hours a
Yeah,
day,
that's it.
Oh,
That'd be
All day
great.
long.
rent a baby.
yeah, rent a baby and return it. And then when it turns like 5, it can live with me. You teach it
You gonna
everything.
foster that motherfucker?
Listen, that's a business
You got
plan.
at least the own on there.
No,
man.
somewhere somebody heard that. Yes,
At least the
train a
own on
baby.
It's probably already going on somewhere.
Yes,
Real
third
talk.
world country, undoubtedly. You go to Russia, you get that right now.
True.
Your risk for clinical depression lowers. So
You
apparently,
don't got no time to be depressed.
Nigga busy.
Busy as shit.
You know the baby need a bath, nigga. Soak later.
this one was funny to me, but accurate. Your personal freedom strengthens. Committed fathers are less likely to commit crimes.
Oh yeah, but I think it goes to the same point of
Yeah.
the of your seatbelt, right? The self-preservation, the availability to be there for your kids.
Yeah,
I completely disagree. And the only reason I disagree is
because you was committing crimes.
I was committing nothing but crimes, man, in college, man.
But
trying to
what
feed
kind
my
of
kids.
crimes though?
Yeah, on the behalf of your children.
Yeah, it was on behalf, but I was stealing, man.
Pampers and shit.
But there are people robbing
Yeah.
at gunpoint stores
Yeah.
and gas stations. They're saying for their kids.
You know, you
Are they
You
justified?
gotta- the baby's got to eat.
Yeah,
Are they
exactly.
justified,
You
though?
product, you doing whatever you got to do, dog.
That's
Just
not the
go
right way.
ahead.
You know,
McDonald's is always hiring. So is Walmart.
Here's it. Yeah, you're right.
He was gonna throw me some bullshit, but yeah, when is Walmart not hiring? And if that one ain't hiring, I assure you, the next one 3 miles away is.
What I was going to say is, assuming that Walmart is enough to take care of your family, I was going to say, I don't know that there's a big difference between the people who stick a gun in your face and the people who take your money from your credit cards while you're sleeping. You don't even know it because they're
No
fucking
difference.
Bangladesh.
All that shit hurt.
You know what I mean? But I'd be one of the latter. I'm white crime all the way.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
I don't even live in the States. I live in a place with no extradition treaties with the United States.
Absolutely. And if I get caught, I'm gonna be in a nice place with a
Very plush.
jail in
prison
Tahiti.
jail. Yeah, very plush.
Yeah.
Living conditions.
Yeah.
Your asshole should be safe.
Nothing but
TV
coconuts and shrimp.
There's a TV in my room.
Not coconut and shrimp.
Yeah,
nigga.
it's
That's-
Tahiti.
That sounds like a vacation.
It's Tahiti.
Fresh fish. The fresh fish of the day is my what?
Yeah.
Nigga.
That's me.
So ways fatherhood changes you. You become more affectionate. Do you agree? Again, especially with your daughters, probably.
Oh, facts.
You know, and even with your sons when they're babies, I think you're,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
until they get older, you see that more man in them. You start pulling back a little bit. But with your daughters, man, I hugged my daughter the other day. I was like, girl, give me another hug, girl.
I still do that.
You
I
know?
put on
Yeah, me
piggyback
too.
rides. And I
Yeah,
tickle
she
her.
jumped on my back all the time. I
Yeah.
said, girl, you getting big for that.
I can't do that with my daughter at all. My back ain't strong enough.
You stupid.
Yeah, you get that
But you know what though? I noticed too that just the maturity. It's funny to see these kids, and I know we're getting off a little bit, but
No, you
just
got
to see the kids growing because, like with my son, what I'm starting to notice is because he's 12. He'll be 13, within the next 12 months. He's starting to mold into that young man, right? So some of the shit that was entertaining when he was 10, like my daughter, I can still just tackle her on the couch and tickle her, and she's like, and like I can do that with him occasionally when he's in that kid mode.
Yeah.
But I tried it the other day. He was like, "Yeah, go ahead, Dad."
Yeah. Oh, damn. He manned up on you.
Yeah, real quick. And you know what's crazy
I've been through that
Danielle
too.
was like, I can't believe it. I said, no, you gotta respect that nigga, man.
Yeah.
I said that he wasn't disrespectful. He laughed. He was like, Dad, like you basically like, nigga, I'm basically a man, and you a man, and you tickling me.
You tickling me. Yeah.
Like I feel like he felt disrespected a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because my son's 11 and he's coming into that. So there are moments where he's too cool for any fucking thing,
right?
And then there's moments where he'll start rubbing on your neck and shit.
Right.
Would you leave me alone, nigga? But it's only on his term. You know what I mean? And that's what's funny about that.
Me and my son still playing like the game where, you try to scare the shit out of each other, and like I'll take a shower, and this man has been sitting in the closet for 20 minutes.
That's commitment. That's commitment.
That's scary.
I respect that type of commitment.
As soon as I grab my underwear,
we do that as well, our kids,
too.
and it's so fun.
Yes, it is.
And I can't say, and we have 2-story house, so when you can't come up those stairs, you should. And sometimes I'm up there waiting, and I just watch them, and the fear, they look so nervous, and they know I'm good, and it's totally dark up there. So no, man, it's the best game ever. If you're not playing it, tighten up.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
You get really excited by small accomplishments. Isn't that true? Yeah. Come on, think about when your kids first got on the soccer team, and they lost all season long, but they got that little trophy.
Their first word, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The first word, the first time they took the steps, all that shit, man. The first time they spoke. I remember my kids being young and saying to their mom, I wonder how their voice is going to sound.
Yeah.
And now I can't shut these motherfuckers.
Oh, my goodness, you can't. It is crazy. It is crazy. Rolling over. Sitting up, all these little things. Oh, you sat up. Oh, and you would really big that up, and it's crazy that you would look at it like that.
It was the same feeling I felt like when my daughter first crawled, and I was like, she crawling backwards, but it's something though.
She'll get there.
They say hand washing becomes your religion. Would you agree with that? Did you get overly OCD?
I need my baby with an immune system. 5-second rule. Eat this Cheeto.
You spend more time in the toilet, but not because you have digestive issues.
Privacy.
Because it's your you time. Your me time. Yeah.
You agree with that one?
Oh yeah. Like
for 2 hours and shit.
Doing whatever you need to do in there.
I usually watch a TV show.
Oh yeah. Bring that tablet.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Prepare anything I may need as well for the day.
I'm making sure I'm not using your tablet.
No, you didn't drop it.
Yeah.
You become more responsible in ways you never thought possible.
Yeah, that's standard.
That's a byproduct.
Yeah.
And we'd like to say that somewhere bitches are like, shit, not the niggas I'm at. You know what I mean? Let's not downplay doing the right thing.
Listen, we can't bitch choose better.
Yeah.
I mean,
she tried. She meant well.
She?
I think that there are many situations where she should have known and could have chose better, but I also genuinely believe some bitches thought they did, and this happened and that happened. So I think it can go both ways, and I think that's what I mean by that.
That's true.
All right. You stop wearing white.
If it's with your baby, man.
Yeah.
Because you can't sit here and get that reflux. You know what I'm saying, and get it back, and then they're always dropping something on you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said just a baby, like you can wear white right now around your kids and not trust it realistically.
But there was a transition from white tee to black tee, and I was very happy about that. In the
hood.
Only
dark colored tees to me. I can't trust white around my kids.
That hood transition really helped us out. Yeah.
Most, if not all, of your friends are also parents.
That is very true.
That's crazy, right?
That's
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
Misery loves company, depending on how you look at it. Not all, but most of your friends.
Most of them.
Well, but what I would say is I don't think that's because you have kids. I think that's because, nigga, you old now. It's like all the niggas you hang around with is your age, and by default, these niggas got kids too. Y'all kids don't necessarily play with each other. Y'all just got them.
Yeah.
It says you are not as sick prone, and you because you're gonna be less likely to risk your health. i.e. maybe you stop smoking. Some people stop drinking when they have kids, and their overall health
Fuck that
becomes
bullshit.
better.
Actually, you drink more and smoke more.
Turn up. I used to have a friend that said, if smoking, not drinking, because I don't know if you could really be tipsy or drunk and really take care of your child. But again, no judgment. But she used to say that if smoking and being high helps you calm down, your child is going to take the vibe that you have. So it's okay to help you because you kind of pass off the energy you give. So I don't want to be passing this out as a parenting tip per se, but as of someone who believes in the earth and natural substances, I can see where that calmness can be passed along.
I can be with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no one stopped drinking. It says that you can experience a full range of motions within 1 minute. Go to 0 to 100, back to 0. And you mentioned that earlier about, being able to fight with your kids and then a minute later be over and be like, come on, let's get back to fun. Let's get back to loving.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? You worry about money, but not for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny, but like Des, I'm sure both of you guys feel like I stopped worrying about myself, buying clothes for myself. My focus just shifted more towards making sure that their mother and they had everything first, and then I became secondary. Yeah. You just think different.
I used to have to talk myself into spending money on myself because every time I went out, I was just thinking, oh man, I can get these for him. Oh, these look good on her. And I would go that route. And recently I've gone away from that. And I've said, man, these niggas, I'm raising these kids to leave. I got to live for me. And, I'll do something for myself in a heartbeat and totally ignore them. So I think you got to be selfish sometimes. And
it's evolution.
Find that balance. You never, ever forget to lock the bedroom door.
Nah, I forget all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And
no fear of them walking in?
We've all had.
But what's crazy though? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I knew not to walk in my parents' bedroom, just walk up in there.
You think they know? Did you know for that reason?
Nah. It was just because my dad was like, you don't walk in my bedroom just because. Like,
and once you hear that, that's all you needed to know. Because I don't think we knew the same thing, but it wasn't because we thought they were doing anything.
Correct. I didn't think they were doing anything.
Your kids have never popped up on y'all?
No. And if they do come to our door, they knock.
Yeah, they do.
They always knock.
Only my daughter, because she has this creeper, like The Grudge type of scary movie feel. Like, she moves in silence, bro.
That's funny.
And like you
samurai.
You could have blinked, dog, and she's at your bedside looking at you dead in your eyes. You be like,
that's creepy.
Why are you here?
Oh, so that's where she gets it.
Yes,
you nigga, you creepy ass nigga, like you passed it along.
That's weird. Her.
No, I'm saying, but the way you've been talking lately, creepy. I'm just saying, you've been passing the trait along. Don't be mad at her for what you gave her.
She was lying dormant until she turned 14.
Oh, shit.
This one was funny. It says your definition of cool changes. I think your kids are different. They're not who you are. And they may like something and they're excited about it. And my son all the time we take walks together sometimes, and it's always video games. It's always this video game, that video game. And I find myself having to get into it so I can ask questions, right? So I can engage conversation. When you're so interested, it creates that bond so they can trust you, with the other things. And I find myself saying shit is cool that I really don't know if I thought it was cool for me, but it's cool that you enjoy it so much. So I think it's funny.
I turned into a straight geek, man. My son picked up anime and Japanese anime, so I started watching a bunch of Japanese anime and picking up. I was always a gamer, but he picked that up, and then that's something that we share. I mean, my daughter's straight up on. She went through a whole slime phase. Like, how do I make 20 versions of slime? And I'm like, all right, I guess that's the cool thing right now. I don't know. But
and Des, your son better than you in basketball already. So that's good that y'all have that bond of you losing to, a 12-year-old. But
definitely not better than me.
I'm just saying.
Better than me.
You learn to think before you act.
Yeah. I think this all goes into, making sure you're available for your kids. You're not doing anything stupid that will put your life or freedom in jeopardy.
What about you watch more children's programming, TV shows?
No, I don't do that.
Now, when you were young, nigga, I used to watch Peppa Pig.
Yeah,
No, I never
me
did
too.
that.
Never did that?
No.
Man, that's crazy.
She had a nice British accent. It was
You learn how to accept losing. And now I didn't agree with this one because I don't let my kids win shit.
Nah, I never do either.
Never.
I was playing my daughter in basketball yesterday. She thought she had a wide open lane. Man, I swatted that shit 50 feet
That
away.
was so unnecessary. You're
No.
ridiculously tall.
Let me tell you something.
That was unnecessary.
No, it wasn't. Let me tell
You
you
let
something.
her shoot it over you and make the shot tough, but you don't slap it all the way out.
Listen to me. I slapped it out. And I told her there's no weak shit in it. Straight up.
No, that was great.
And you know what's crazy? She was playing with me and her mom against her and her brother. And for the next 3 buckets, she proceeded to take her mom off the dribble, lay up to the hoop.
No, I agree with you. I think you raised it right. I was giving you a hard time.
But you know what the funny thing is? That shit changes at some point where they start to beat you at shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I used to beat my son in every game. It don't matter what the game is, man. Just the other day, man, we were playing Uno his way.
Yeah,
And this man-
I hate his way though.
Yeah, I'm just
he
saying.
got too many house rules. You can't play Uno like that. You need standard national rules, nigga.
Bruh draw 12 on me or 24 or something. Dog, I literally threw the cards in his face and said, I'm going.
No,
in the room.
but
I'm
that's
not
my
playing."
problem. And I know this is off subject, but stop fucking up Uno. Just play it how the hell it's supposed to be. All these house rule shit. That's not how the game goes. But yeah, I don't take it easy on my kids at all when it comes to board games. So I believe you.
Why these kids out here soft?
Yeah, you're not doing them any favors. Yeah, right, nigga. You beat me before you beat anybody
There
else.
you go.
You require so many more pockets. You know, some people said they started wearing cargo pants till they had kids. You know, your kids always giving you shit. I don't know if your kids was like this, especially when they're little, like, and whenever they're done with something here, you know what I mean? I hated that shit.
Yeah. I think it depends on how old they are, but possibly.
Yeah.
And they always want you to hold something, yeah.
This one I was a little indifferent about. You're not prepared for how quickly your kids become smarter than you are. So I added in with some things because it definitely isn't everything.
But I think what they might be saying on that is that the kids become smarter than you give them credit for, right? And what I mean by that, because you say smarter than you are, that shit's not happening right now, right? But smarter than you are meaning mommy and daddy think this about us, but actually,
I know that
we're way more fucking advanced than
or
what they give us
smarter
credit for.
than you were at your age, at that age. That could be possible too. I think we're passing a lot more knowledge now than maybe they did.
Yo, my kids got a walkie-talkie, right? You can leave it on open talk because they doing one does school upstairs and the other one downstairs in the office. And so during the day, if they need to talk to each other, they're supposed to run up and down the steps. They use a walkie-talkie, right? Well, they left them bitches on. So it was last night. Like they was up there, and it was not. I'm gonna get into detail. Nothing crazy, right? It's about actually getting me and their mom to make some fucking cupcakes today, right? But these motherfuckers was plotting. Like, and my thing is like, yo, my daughter, who I think is so sweet. Now, listen, I don't think she's an angel, but she is so sweet. She is so helpful. Daddy, yes, of course, Daddy, I will help you. Daddy, you want me to make you this? Daddy, you want me to cut you some fruit? Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. So much so that my son goes, they're like, you gonna kiss his butt all day?
Yeah,
like,
I hate it.
Dog, she was fucking masterminding this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
how did she say it?
Dog, listen. So she was like, talking to my son. Here's what you need to do. You need to go downstairs and you need to ask mommy because you have mommy like caves to you, right? Like my wife has a soft spot for my son, right? So you ask mommy. We all know daddy has to make the final decision, but ask mommy because we need her on our side, right? And then daddy will go to mommy. Daddy might tell mommy no because he knows. Then I'm gonna come in and say, Daddy, please. I'm hearing this shit. Yo, today, and I didn't say shit. Today they executed that shit. They executed.
Was it a good plan?
You know what? I let it go. I let it happen.
It was cute, man. Why not?
Because I appreciate there was no disrespect anywhere. It was manipulating relationships.
Yeah.
But my point was like my son was like a fucking extra that she hired for this fucking production.
Outsourced the job. Like, hey, listen, I got a plan for you.
No nigga, don't
the
talk.
job for you.
Do what I'm telling you to do, right?
That's
and the
dope.
shit went
That's
on
funny as
perfectly.
shit,
That's
though.
dope.
But there is times that your kids can be smarter. Like my son, I mean, when he was 16 in AP classes or 17 in AP classes, and they were hitting algebra and shit, and going back, and he doing like calc and shit. And he's like, Dad, can you help me with this shit? And I was like,
oh, well, that's different.
Yeah, I'm talking about life.
Yeah, because realistically, you could do it back then too, and you did it.
Back
you just
then.
can't remember that shit. I can't remember that shit.
None of it.
We were taught to learn and make sure that we're capable of it.
Right.
You don't need geometry in your everyday life. You're not gonna remember that shit.
Not at all.
Get the fuck out of here, man. So no, I don't agree with that smarter shit in that way. But yeah, I think more in life, there are things that your kid is going to be better at. For sure my son's going to be better at playing video games than my ass. So yeah, if you talk about that, he's smarter than me, but no, not in every way.
More talented sometimes.
And more talented in other ways for sure. You hope that. You want that.
Yo.
If you're a good father.
I'm going to show you guys. I haven't showed you guys. Yo, my son is an excellent artist. Like when it comes to drawing things with pencil and shading. And we never put that nigga in a class. Mm-hmm. He never asked us for anything. He would just use his money and he'd be like, Dad, can you take me to the store? I'm like, what you want? He's like, I want to get us some pads and some pencils. I'm like, you got a project or something? He's like, yeah, something like that. Right? He always downplayed that shit.
Yeah.
And then I was in his room the other day cleaning up. And I knew he drew. Like I would see little shit around the house. But this motherfucker has like 3 or 4 books. And like if you go through there, he's got characters he's made up. The Joker. He's got cars. He's got swords. Anything like you can imagine. Yeah. And it's just incredible. I can't draw shit but Bart Simpson. And y'all know that, right?
Yeah.
I got one thing I can draw. And I can't even draw the fucking body.
Yes. Just the fucking head.
Yo,
you can put a cap on that bitch, nigga. You can make him with dreads, nigga, but it's the same.
You already had little books.
But my point is that I couldn't draw any of the things I saw in my son's books.
That's crazy.
And
I love that.
And I don't know where he learned this at. Like, because his mom can't draw shit either.
Yeah,
maybe this is real daddy.
And sometimes they upgrade because I'm a big drawer too, and my son is phenomenal. Like he's certified in Adobe, all Adobe platforms, right? Mm-hmm. And he has a digital pad and he's drawing that stuff into Illustrator, man, and it's like amazing what he can do. Mm-hmm. I mean, he made me look like I was in 2nd grade based
drawing
off
stick figures, because that's what I'd be drawing. No, I think that I say drawing stick figures because that's what I'd be drawing. But I really think that stuff is embedded in them, and it comes from not necessarily you, but your ancestors, your bloodline. So, talent exists within us and many different talents. Yes. I mean, we all have careers, and yet we enjoy this creative output here, even on a podcast. And, I can hoop. Your jumper all right, depending on the day. And, the same with that. So, I think you can be good at a lot of things. So it is great and interesting to see our kids do that. And I want my kids to be better at everything than I am. Ultimately, I just got to remind them that day hasn't come yet. So. Yeah.
I got a question. I know we kind of finished going through some of the stuff we want to talk about.
No, we done. We're good.
Do you think that, and maybe we can stop and we want to stop or keep it going? Like kitchen?
No.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Kitchen.
Okay. So you can edit it then. But do you think it's important? So like his mom, my son's mom gets mad at me, and my daughter must have got the same mom, but
no nigga shit over here.
She gets mad at me because she thinks I'm too tough on him, right? And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, his goal is to play football and basketball in college. That's his goal, right? I was like, nigga, you got to pick one, right? You can play both, but like you got to have one you look at it. But that's his goal, right? And so as far as I'm concerned, he asked me. So when he said that to me, I said, well, you want to do that? He says, people have done that before, right? He's like, what about Julius Peppers? I read about Julius Peppers. He played in North Carolina football and basketball.
He did.
And he was a freaking all-pro in the NFL.
He was.
So he was like, if he did it, why can't I do it? It's like, well, shit, you right, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I said, but that's a different level of dedication. So when we play, like we practice football stuff because that's his main sport. But like when we play basketball for an hour a day, I don't take it easy on him.
Yeah.
If his handles is weak, I swat that shit into the grass and make him get it. If his jump or his drive is weak, I swat that shit out. Now, if I know that he's got a good move, he's going strong, the only reason I'm getting it is because I'm bigger than him, then I let that shit ride.
You got to.
But if he goes up soft or his handles is weak, I swat that shit out. And I'm like, that shit is weak. Get it out of here. And so his mama watches playing. She's like, yo, you're being too serious. I said, well, how the fuck you think you gonna get to be with Julia Peppers? You think motherfuckers gonna play with you?
Yeah.
At some point, somebody gonna be like, yo, you fucking weak and you ain't doing
if
shit.
If you learn that way, then you'll never be able to.
So you all agree with that premise?
I definitely agree. That's you. It's like practice. You play how you practice, and if you practice weak shit, when you get out there, that's what he's gonna be putting up, and niggas going who are not their father are it's gonna kill that shit. You know what I mean? And you used to always make us play older kids, and I used to hate it. But you were always right. Because I used to...
When y'all hooped?
Yeah, when we was hooping, he'd always team us up together against 2 older people. And I'd be like, man, we could have split this up. He was like, no, man. And you were always fearless in that way. And I was always like, man, let's make it fair. I'm talking about Gent. So it was funny that whenever we played, we always played hard. And a lot of times we won those. Mm-hmm. And I think you become better when you challenge yourself, and you challenge yourself beyond your capability, beyond your level, and that will up your level versus you downplaying, and that would have really pacified him and wouldn't have helped him grow. So yeah, slap that weak shit out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I did it to my daughter, and you judged me earlier.
No, I mean,
That's
you told her,
your little
dog.
girl, though,
You couldn't, I just said let her get it off, dog. I'm not saying.
You notice how we
make
all
it
looked at
easy.
you at the same time? Just like,
I'm not saying let it be easy.
all right.
Keep your hand up high.
Listen,
stay vertical, but don't
you-
block it.
If you raise your daughters like you raise your sons, they got even better advantage when it comes to sports.
I hear you.
Because a lot of these girls out here are soft.
I agree.
And then they can't find no man, dog.
Listen, but then the ones that's not soft, you're like, man, that bitch got an attitude, or she aggressive. You damn right she is.
Yeah, she got that dog in her.
Yeah.
Her daddy
Yeah.
gave her that.
And she 40 and single. I understand.
Not necessarily. I disagree with you saying.
I
but
definitely, let me tell you something. My daughter about 35. I'll help her get some dick by 35.
Well, first off, I don't even like.
I don't even know how you could help that. So I don't know if I.
Because you don't want to go into old age by herself and not be in the miles. You don't
It's
want
gonna
that.
be how she feels. That's the thing.
No, my point is if she wants to, she hasn't been able to.
Exactly.
Then I would help her in
Yeah.
whatever way I could.
But yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
you'll have a
18 be
problem
lonely,
with that.
bitch. Yeah.
I definitely don't think you're gonna have the opposite of that problem. So
No, I'm not.
there you are.
No, I'm not. I told you I'm gonna make her big and strong, like a tranny.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Shit.
Yeah.
They getting somewhere training getting fucked right now. So I hear you. You know, I just think
We respect everybody, by the way.
Yeah, clearly, and that's how we talking like this. But yeah, I just think you got to be the best father you can be. Be like your dad. If you had a good dad, if you didn't have a dad, and that nigga went around, be the dad you wanted him to be. You know, but you know, just don't box yourself in. That's all I say when it comes to fatherhood. Ladies, this shit matters to us the same way motherhood matters to most of y'all. Because all the other motherfuckers ain't really all that motherly either. But, you know, I digress. But, yeah, man, this shit is real, man.
Yeah.
I love these kids.
Man, shout out to the good fathers out there. You know, I think a lot of times dads get a bad rap, right? Because I think there's so many dads who are not doing what they need to do right by their kids. I think, unfortunately, though, we don't pay any attention to the dads who are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Right, which is being there every day, which is being there, guy. Doesn't mean they with the mom, right? That's not a requirement, right? But the requirement is that you are present and available on a consistent basis in your child's life. And so for all the dudes doing that, we salute you. We appreciate you.
For sure.
And I'll keep it simple, man. They're a blessing. Treat them like that. Like,
And
that's
I
it.
guarantee all of y'all ain't got one, clearly. And, you know, I was listening to Jude Law on the radio before we go wrap it up real quick. And it was Feel Good Friday. And I shout out to that show. I love that show. I love Feel Good Friday. Someone was calling in. They call in and say what they're happy for. But he was happy because he got a hand job on the ride home on 95 from his wife and his girl. And he was so happy about it.
That's special.
And Jude broke the whole situation down. His dad died from COVID. And they were coming from the funeral. And she was like, what can make you happy? And he said he started rubbing on her. And she was like, all right, let's do it then. And he was so happy. He was bigging her up. She was right there next to him. You know what I'm saying? He said she caught his nut half in the hand and she slurped the rest up. And Jude and the guest speaker, she was even impressed. She said, that's a keeper, man. You know, it's the little things, ladies. And we always talk about the power of a hand job. It's that easy. And he was talking about her like she had fucking made him, like it was his mom. She was like, man, she takes care of everything. She paid for this trip. Like, I really love her. And as much as he said all those things, what encouraged it? What warned? It was the fucking hand job, ho. Hear the underlying message. The hand job kept them close. He in love with her right now, and that hand job had a big factor. No. So I just wanted to leave.
I just want to know how that even tied into fatherhood. But, you know, I hear you.
To me, he's a good father. She said he was taking care of her kids, and she was a good mother, etc. She's appreciative of the man she has.
Good time.
Shit, hell yeah. You better jack that nigga off if you love him.
Yeah, and it's easy, ladies.
Shit, 5 minutes if that.
To.
Oh my God.
And on that note, hey, so subscribe on any platform. We are on YouTube, huge presence. We are on Apple, Spotify, Google, every podcast platform. Google Brunch with the Boys. On the socials, hey, catch us on Instagram at Brunch with Boys. On Facebook, type Brunch with the Boys. On Twitter, hit us at Boys with a Z _brunch. Keep tuning in. Tell a friend. All right.
WTC.
Yeah. Coffee and brunch. We can have our conversations over coffee and brunch. Ha.